evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone it is for you today, and welcome, lovely folks at home, to the Overwatch All-Star Trials Season 2. It's the final weeks. I'm going to be your color caster for today. My name is Gut Moxie, and I'm going to be joined by the wonderful, amazing play-by-play extraordinaire, Sir Waltham.
Thanks, Moxie. Glad to be here. Glad to be seeing SubZero play New York locals. Overall, I'm just excited. It's general excitement.
Well, we talked just a little bit before this match starts. New York locals, they're doing pretty well in the standings. They can't take that first spot that's already secured by Astray, but they can still bag third place if they're lucky today.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be Illusion that they're going to be looking to overtake. I think we were doing the quick maths a little bit earlier. They need 7 points or more to tie for third, at least, to take that joint third, if my caster math is right, which means it very well might not be.
Yeah, the calculator in this head is a little bit botched, a little bit damaged, I will confess. But no, I think it is that 7 points that they're going to be looking for. So they're definitely going to be out for blood. And SubZero, I don't think they're just going to let themselves be rolled over.
Yeah, SubZero's in a very confident position. They do have a significant head over the third, fourth, and rest of the teams, as a matter of fact. You know, Astray obviously leading the pack aside from that. But either way, I definitely agree. They're going to be looking to keep the reputation as pristine as possible in that second spot.
Yeah, and sadly, it's not going to be the patch that we've been hoping to become live. It's going to be another week of what's no doubt going to just be Orisa Sigma. But look at it from this perspective. As of next week, that's going to be old news. So this is going to be a little bit of a memorable Overwatch game, a little piece of history that we're going to be able to keep and put in our pockets.
Yeah, I would argue that since it seems like a lot of people are practicing on the PTR, we're kind of in living retro right now. We're retro is coming back in a big way. We're gonna see it here, and we didn't even have to see it go out of style first. I think this is a great middle ground. This is me trying to put the positive spin on the same meta that's been here for a while.
I mean, Overwatch meta is a lot like the fashion industry, right? Everything that was popular in the 80s is suddenly popular now. I'm seeing a massive big resurgence in all of the stuff that I used to find in my mother's closet when I was younger and pick up and be like, what is this? So all of these people who've become tank mains during Overwatch 2019 start of the year, picked up the Orisa, picked up the Sigma later on, they're gonna suddenly be on a Reinhardt and they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, buttons, I actually move fast. What is this world?
It's going to be very good, and as far as retro looks come back, as long as we're not seeing any leg warmers, I think I'll be very happy and content with this game either way. If my lineup is correct here, we're going to be starting off on Ilios.
We are indeed, and so this is where you can get away not with playing the Orisa Sigma, but you still want the Orisa in composition, but you can throw a Roadhog into the mix. Because we have this amazing, wonderful part of Overwatch called environmental kills, Waltham. So no matter what HP a person is, if they get dunked in that well, they ain't coming back until the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, Classic Well kind of houses all of the favorite characters I have personally from Overwatch. You have the Roadhog with the hooks, you have the Pharah, you have the Lucio for the speed and the boops. A lot of potential coming out here for a lot of my favorite characters. I'm hoping we're going to get to see Well at least come out, even if we don't see all those characters in their proper form.
Well, if Ruins comes up, there is a possibility. Teams have been practicing for new compositions on PTR. Ruins has always been one of those Widow Playground maps. Maybe we'll see it. I'm iffy on it because Widow, if you're going into Orisa Sigma, is still very difficult to find those picks. But if someone's been practicing a sniper, they're gonna want to showcase their skills.
Yeah, I mean, it's questionable, right? So I don't know if New York locals would be willing to pull that out, given that they're looking for just that 7 points. Maybe if we were running Ilios after they'd already taken a couple maps, we might be saying, okay, yeah, they can relax a little bit, they can let up off the gas, but I think they're going to be pushing very hard here, and I don't know if Widow is necessarily going to be in alignment with that hard drive.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to be seeing Pharmacy, though. Pharmacy has risen to the forefront of the DPS picks at the moment, and it's wonderful. I love to see it, because if it doesn't get counted, it is absolutely devastating. And it would surprise you the amount of teams who are getting rolled over by a Pharah and don't swap to a Pharah counter and then lose the match because of it. And as a caster, you're just sitting here slowly pulling out your hair as you just silently scream, why did you not pick a McCree or an Ashe? Or, I don't know, well, not a Widow or a Soldier, but why not a McCree?
That's right. It's not just at those lower tiers where we see people kind of refuse to go onto those swaps. It can happen anywhere. It can happen to you is the important thing to remember here. So we're going to have to be vigilant if we do see that Pharah and see if these teams end up making those swaps that are so crucial.
Stubbornness is often the seventh enemy that you face in Overwatch. Is something that I like to say, right? You see teams and they don't swap to the counters, or they don't swap at all. They keep sticking with either the mirror matchup or what they've come out of the gates with, even if it isn't working for them. And they run it all the way into their graves. And you have to ask yourself, oh, well, what if they'd switched? And so it's definitely going to be whether these two teams are willing to be that flexible. I think New York locals, if what they come out of the starting gates with doesn't quite work against SubZero, will probably have that flexibility. They're gonna have to if they want to pick up those 7 points. But SubZero, these guys, they might be a little bit of a immovable object.
Yeah, and you say immovable object. It's fascinating. We were just talking a little bit earlier about that PTR patch that's coming through. Coming soon to a theater and Overwatch game near you. But it's like, are they going to be kind of playing to a style that's going to be more applicable towards that next meta, or are they going to be keeping it a little bit more locked into what's relevant now? I think that, they're going to be immovable, but it's a question of which type of immovable will they be. It's
going to depend on the map overall. If we cast our eye over all of the maps that we're going to be seeing today, Ilios, Hanamura, Dorado, and Eichenwald. 2 of those jump out immediately as maps where you can have that shift up in your tank lineup. You can try to run the Reinhardt, try to run the Zarya, or pair the Reinhardt with the Orisa, so you can still have that safe, that snug double shielding. People, they're so used to having all of that HP in front of them, they don't quite want to give it up just yet. But Ilios is never really gonna be one for the Rein. Even with this new passive, it hasn't quite reached the precipice of where it is on that PTR. You can still get bounced, you can still get booped, you can still get halted straight off a cliff and into your death. So you're not really wanting to run the Reinhardt on Ilios, but it's definitely applicable on Dorado and Eichenwald and at a push Hanamura.
Yeah, I'm definitely anxious to see these teams move on, especially towards those back 2 maps, Dorado and Eichenwald. I'd be curious to see how Streets phase of Dorado is going to play out. I know that the high ground can be very crucial there, and I've been talking a little bit that, sometimes that means that dive can come out. So this is just me being an optimistic Winston main, saying I'm hoping we're going to see a little bit of, not the Rein Zarya, not the Sig Ori, not the Hog Ori, but maybe Winston Ball, Winston Diva. Probably not Winston Diva if we're being sincere, but, the options are there that I really hope we can just, get to out of the gate.
I mean, fingers crossed for the monkey. I love to see Winston on Streets phase on Dorado, because you have all of that high ground contest. You can get up there, you can get so much cleave on your cannon that you can build Primal up in an absolute snap of the fingers. Sometimes it feels like it's a Moira trying to build Coalescence up. The amount of time it takes for Winston players to manage to get that one up. But to run dive also heavily relies on what your opponents are running. Mm-hmm. Because there are some compositions where you just simply cannot try to dive them. And so it is going to be this kind of this push, this pull. Who is going to initiate? Who is going to start us off with? Because we're going to see the team come out with the composition on top, take control of the point, take control of the payload, and then the other team, they have to anticipate and come into this next engagement either with the same thing that they came into the last one with, but hopefully with ultimates in their pocket, or with those crucial changes that we talked about. But we are going to be headed off to Ilios, and sadly, it's not well. Neither is it Ruins. It's the one that we haven't even talked about so far. It's Lighthouse, and so it's with a heavy heart that I do say I believe it's just going to be this Orisa Sigma get up on point, hole up in a corner, and boop anyone away who dares to come near.
Yeah, hopefully, I, as a very optimistic person when it comes to Overwatch, I'm going to hope that we at least see the Pharah for the first push. I don't know if that will be a swap off immediately after one team loses the fight and then realizes we can't run Pharah as well into the Lighthouse. But, again, I'm going to hold that optimism as close to my heart as possible. We will be finding out in 5 seconds, once those doors open, exactly what we're going to be rolling with here, Mox.
Gonna see whether any of these DPS are going to be putting a smile on your face. And that
No.
seems like a resounding no. This is just going to be this meta picks that we've been seeing so often run over and over, time and time again. The Reaper, the Doomfist, and not a single McCree to counter two of them with one flashbang.
Well, sometimes you just got to go meta with it, and it looks like that's exactly what both teams are going to be opting for. As the doors open up, we're going to get right into the action.
Well, New York locals, you have to get those 7 points under your belt, so they're definitely going to be trying to stick to meta as much as they can, because it's really what's going to try and guarantee them these picks.
It certainly will, and as we're looking right now, SubZero, we're looking like they're going to lead with the DPS by the chin a little bit here, but the fight just breaking out so quickly, but Trev taking down 2 kills off the front end, but the other Reaper going to not be unanswered, although it does look like it's going in favor of SubZero, so they're pulling off what looks like a good first fight.
Well, from SubZero, they have this wonderful focus. Get the main support out of the lineup and then jump onto the vulnerable tanks. You see it immediately. Anyun just goes down straight away. And so if New York locals want to try and get any sort of pushback coming in, they have to protect their support lineup.
That's certainly going to have to be the case here. We'll see if they have any more luck with it this second push around. Doomfist charging up, going for the swing, not going to quite find too much. Dapper getting brought dangerously low, though incredibly low, building up a little bit of those personal shields. Javian getting the first kill onto that Orisa. Churro dropping, meaning there's not going to be a lot of space for the side of SubZero. Although not many other kills going in order. It looks like the rotations are coming on the point, and once again, Anion going to be dropped down. Javian dropping the Death Blossom, going to be taken down just one before they're killed by another ult themselves, and it looks like New York Local is going to be scrappy enough to get the point.
Oh, that was so scrappy, Waltham. They tried to commit even though they'd lost their main support. It works out for them. And now they're going to have this coalescence, this Sigma Flux to hold on to things. And look, Omakase does not have the sound barrier available. So this drop that SubZero are going to be facing, it's going to hurt like hell.
Yeah, they're certainly going to have to be very aware of it. We're going to see when the initiation comes through. The halt going into the Accretion Rock, not going to be landing onto Javian. Means the Reaper's still going to be able to enforce a little bit here. The Supercharger going to be going into effect by Jason. Leo Cakes following up with the Grab Flux. Getting mostly Cash, not going to be getting too much damage. That is until Cash gets cleaned up by Jason. These tanks really pushing forward. Trev on that Reaper getting caught out just a little bit, but has the Wraith form to get out.
New York locals are looking for a little bit of revenge. They're chasing these straggling picks. They're all split up. They're just absolutely scattered. And New York locals are taking full advantage. And with these ultimates in their pocket, they're looking to keep control of this point, Wolfram. They've got this Coalescence. They've got this Meteor Strike. But more importantly, Mudkipper has got the Sign Barrier for Cash's Sigma Flux, which Omakase did not.
Yeah, this does mean that Omakase going to be having that barrier, but we're going to be seeing how it shakes out here. The sound barrier coming out in response, as you mentioned, to Cash's Grab Flux. Both Coalescences coming out, but Mudkipper getting taken down despite dropping the sound barrier. Lots of ults coming in throughout this entire fight, but it is going all in favor of SubZero as just the cleanup onto Javian, the Reaper, and the Moira Onion getting pushed right into the wall. Javian soon to follow as the point goes flip.
But 77%, that's so close to that sought after final fight territory, and New York locals, they're going to be coming into this with a Death Blossom. It's going to be so hard to set up because all of SubZero are going to be looking for this Reaper and where he teleports, but if they can pull it off, they are going to be able to flip this point. They have no support ultimates on the side of SubZero to be able to deal with this.
It's very true, and a nice yoink off of the high ground from this side of SubZero, making sure New York locals aren't able to hold that with the Doomfist lethality coming in. Supercharger going to be dropped by Churro, and Dapper once again getting brought dangerously low and then cleaned up so early into this fight, and it's looking like that's going to be a rather early loss for New York locals. They're backing up to try to get the regroup.
If you hear the Superchargers go down, you leg it around the nearest corner, and unfortunately New York locals just did not have that clean disengagement. And now, yes, they've got this Death Blossom, but now SubZero, they're getting closer to these support ultimates. Mistrick is getting closer and closer to that Coalescence, 10% away. New York locals, they have to move in before that Coalescence hits. Yeah,
Anion going to be getting that Coalescence quick right as soon as we're talking about it here. Neither Moira looking to initiate. Mistrick be using that Coalescence as they get brought so dangerously low, and this time it will be Jason using that Supercharger. Nobody can get on point, though. It's going to be SubZero managing to get the 100.
Oh, but we're looking at one heck of a series, Wolfram. If that map was anything to come by, New York locals, they have to start learning from their mistakes. They have to start properly protecting their support lineup and disengaging cleanly out of fights. These are rookie mistakes that we're seeing. Every team above 4K and 3K should know when you hear the supercharges, you run, you disengage unless you have the supercharges to answer with of your own, and that doesn't happen. But looking at this DPS lineup, we're seeing things that I think are a little bit like early stocking fillers for the both of us. Trev on this Widow, and 2 Pharahs on the field. So, gonna give a little bit of advantage to HK Broke, who is gonna be able to have this Widowmaker to back them up. Dapper on this Hanzo is probably gonna be looking more for these supports.
You certainly have to be expecting this. So already, Dapper taking a few early rockets by HK Broke. It seems like the advantage is not only just in comp, but also a little bit in the damage department coming through as well. Dapper getting knocked off of the high ground and brought down early. Trev cleaning them up as soon as they lose that high ground. So already looking like a dominant position coming in from SubZero. They are trying to play around Leo Cakes on this Wrecking Ball, but HK Broke not giving the supports any respite for the side of New York locals. Leo Cakes taking down Cash into the pit, though. This is a little bit of a slower battle. Kills going back and forth as we hear the res coming in. Both supports going to be brought back up for the side of locals. And right now, nobody really looking to take dominance on point. Churro kind of playing around the corner, but not long enough to get that point flip over initially. And because of that, it looks like New York Locals going to be maintaining this dominance over the field as it slowly gets flipped.
Dapper is playing Widowmaker on the front line, not even standing behind his shield. Just gonna be standing straight there on the point, and why not? They've been hitting the shots to back it up. Manages to hit the shot onto both of the pharmacy. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful and takes out so much damage on the side of SubZero.
Yeah, that was incredible play. The Ana does drop. A Mudkipper gonna be having that res right back up, and New York Locals looking for it right now.
Well, New York locals, if they can manage to get Leo Cakes' mines on point, that is going to completely shut down this next push for SubZero. Mines on point means that you cannot stand, and there that ultimate is colored in, so that's going to be coming in as soon as SubZero try to become this approach, and that's going to force them straight to pop this Coalescence, which they're going to be wanting to keep HK Broke alive during this barrage.
Yeah, Dapper gonna be dropping those info sites to keep everybody up. A big anti-nade coming through from the side of Anion. But with that, the mine's gonna be finding their targets. Trev getting taken down because of it, and it's just looking like the pharmacy and maybe a Moira trying to get away, but cleaned up by Dapper. Dapper does not sleep. In fact, continues to find those kills, and it looks like it's gonna be a pullback now again for SubZero.
Oh, Wolfram things not looking good for SubZero. They managed to steal the Coalescence from that Moira did New York locals, and now they've got so many ultimates, and SubZero have nothing to answer it with in terms of support. They're gonna have a Valk, but that's hardly anything in the face of a supercharged Barrage Nano plus Valk boost combo.
Yeah, they're really gonna have to try to get sneaky with HK Broke's Rocket Barrage if they're gonna try to find anything with it. Javian gonna just drop the Rocket Barrage right on top of Cash's head, finding the kill for it, but it's not going entirely in favor. Javian trying to pull back the kill count from their team, but Cash getting brought back up, and now we're seeing the Rocket Barrage come in from HK Broke. Doesn't find too much with it, but doesn't lose their own life, which a lot of times is exactly what you look for with those barrages. And right now the Valk coming in from Mudkipper, just trying to keep everybody alive on point, but it's not enough. HK Broke going and throwing those rockets into everybody's face right now. The mines once again coming through from Leo Cakes does not look to be enough. Dapper trying to claim it back, not going to be enough, and for the first time, SubZero going to be claiming Wells Point.
But if you look at this ultimate, this percentage across the board, New York locals, they've got 99%. They just need one teamfight victory. So SubZero, they're going to have to hold this point, and they're going to have to hold it the entire time. If they lose any one teamfight, New York locals take them up, and they've got a supercharges. And now we're seeing these swaps come in. Dapper going to go onto the Reaper so that Churro can't find as much value with this Winston. Nice meaty target, going to charge the Death Blossom up like crazy.
Oh, and Churro tries to dive into the Reaper. A very dangerous gambit here, but Churro managing to get the kills, getting two, in fact, onto the Ana and the Ori. The Forest trying to duel it around the windmill, but not quite finding too much. Not a lot of kills coming through in either way. Nistric dropping that nano boost just to help the team fight win, and it looks like they're going to manage to hold point on the side of SubZero.
That nano got put onto Churro so that he could try to build this primal. He is going to have 7% to it, which means that as soon as New York locals come in, he can play bouncer, but he wants to let them go near this well. He wants to be able to get these environmental kills, so they're letting an approach occur before the primal gets popped. Lovely play.
And they're not even going to need to really worry about it. Onion going to be brought back down, as well as JV. And HK broke, having a rough first few fights, but now really coming back into form as we see the Rockets just dropping on top of their targets. And right now it looks like, again, Locals trying to do a little bit of a back out, but Jason not going to be able to ferry their team out as they get crushed by the Primal.
But it's overkill. You already removed one of the main supports from the side of New York Local. You don't need to put the Primal in. That's an ultimate that they're not going to have for this next engagement. And with New York Locals trying to build towards this barrage, which no doubt is going to have Mudkipper try to put this Valkyrie to keep the Pharah alive, and Leo Case coming up to mines, you're not going to have anything to really control where New York Locals come to.
That's very true, and we're actually seeing Dapper swap onto that Tracer off of the Reaper pick. So close, Javian, having this Rocket Barrage online. Leo Cake's taking down Trev. That is a man advantage for the side of New York Locals. That's exactly what they needed. We're going to be Javian and having this Rocket Barrage online right now. Are they going to be choosing to drop it? Cash taking down Leo Cakes. Losing that Wrecking Ball might be a very costly opportunity there. And right now, it's just the tank of Jason trying to stay on the point. As well, we see Javian trying to skirt out some angles to drop this barrage, but it's just the pharmacy that they keep trying to target. And wow, Dapper getting dropped too. That is a lot of stall opportunity lost. It's not looking great for the New York Locals as they have to just try to maintain any way they can. We're seeing the Rocket Barrage now come out, but this time it's from HK Broke. Javian not even getting the opportunity to drop theirs. And with this, it's just the Wrecking Ball on point trying to stay, but doesn't stay long enough with that SubZero taking the second map and all of Ilios in the back.
Oh, New York Locals, what happened in that second part? You took that first point so dominantly. You managed to get 99%, and then as soon as the second half just ticks on over, it's like we're watching a different team. They put ultimates in when they shouldn't. They don't band together, they don't group up, they don't play as teams should when you have 99% on the board. Just do eco pushes. Just build up ultimates and come in with absolutely everything and wash away the other team with pure Qs alone. That's all you need to do. Ultimate's so easy.
I'm absolutely going to agree. I definitely think we saw a different team out on the field just now and kind of a mid-game swap, but I honestly think it came out of HK Broke just finding some massive damage, immense kills going on early into those fights. The Moira dropped early, as we saw in one of their defensive holds. They were getting so many kills early on to the fight. It just did not give New York Locals a good time to get a nice approach in there. Yes, they needed to be a little bit more cautious of that Pharah, but really HK Broke seemed to find some pretty good value, I think.
Well, they needed to protect their support so much. We saw Anion go down so early in the fight so many times. It seemed as if it was just a record playing on repeat. Oh, the Anna's out. Oh, the Moira's out. SubZero had this really good focus. They know you take the supports out and then everyone else is vulnerable. If you're running Pharmacy, you're running a Mercy as your second support, and everyone who's read the patch notes know that isn't really gonna be able to keep 4 people alive for very long if a Moira isn't around.
Very true. Can't argue with that, especially since it kind of throws, if your supports fall very early into the fight, it throws ult economy off for your team as well. That Moira not able to build up that massive healing, leading to those coalescences that can be so crucial in some of these fights. But as we look forward rather than back, we're going to be seeing that Hanamura up next on the chopping block. Mox, what do you think about it?
Teams could actually surprise us here. Hanamura is one where you can just dig your hand into the tank lineup and pull out anything. We've seen both of these teams dip into the Winston. We've seen both of these teams go for the Hammond. We've seen the Orisa. We've seen the Sigma. Haven't seen the Reinhardt or the Zarya, but Hanamura is one of those where you can run Reinhardt on the approach. If you're expecting a bunker, then you can have a Mei or a Symmetra. You can go for a little bit of a sprinkling of some mozzarella, some Gouda, some cheddar. You can Mei wall to negate all of the damage coming in from that bunker to allow your team with that Reinhardt shield to just get into one of those side rooms and then approach the point at your own leisure while remembering that there is a clock and you are on it, but it's one of those where you can indeed see the German Crusader outside of the spawn doors. And I don't know about you, but my fingers and toes and all other limbs are currently crossed for it.
Well, I mean, when you start talking about cheeses in relation to Overwatch heroes, I'm definitely all ears for that. But yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll be seeing the Rhine come out. I like it. I like the Earth Shatters. I feel like whenever you get the opportunity to say Big Slam, Big Shatter, whatever it is, it's a good feeling. So as a caster, I'm looking for it. But again, it's like you said, it's a little bit of a grab bag. I think anything's possible here.
We've seen so much. These teams, they've shown that they really are flexible. We saw the swap come in from Dapper immediately since the Monkey started hounding their battle clan to that Reaper. But no, they're gonna be starting off with this Orisa, with this Sigma. Javion is on the Sombra, so there could be the Scout at the beginning. And they're going to see HQ Broke on the May. And this is when you grab a Lucia, you grab a Reinhardt, and you have everyone in the comms say, 1, 2, 3, ready, go. Because you have to walk through that choke as one unit. If anyone is out of step, they are going to get walled, they are going to get separated, and they are going to get absolutely, undeniably shredded.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Well, it's gonna be the Sombra out for that Scout. As previously mentioned, so Javion is going to see what they're running into, and so Dapper will be picking up the mace, so they're going to try to go for this counter wall in case anyone gets separated from the side of New York locals. The Moira Orb comes out nice and early. Dapper puts the wall in, blocks immediately, and all of the team just rushes an absolute scrap of a fight!
Yeah, absolutely looking brutal right now, but the brutality really coming through on the side of SubZero. They seem to just be getting these kills, and in fact, they're going to be pushing past the choke right up into the face of Leo Cakes. It looks like that's going to be the last player to fall. Onion barely getting away from that Moira damage orb.
New York locals absolutely just threw themselves and then their corpses into the sides of SubZero, who were more than happy to embrace them with open arms. They've been charging their ultimates caches already, almost 50% of the Sigma Flex, while Mudkipper hasn't even managed to pass the quarter-way mark for the Cyan Barrier, so that one's surely gonna hurt when it comes in, but you absolutely have to worry about Nistric building this Coalescence at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be the case, and it looks like a lot of the team going to be getting through the choke, just that Moira going to be cut off, but Leo Cake's going to be missing that Moira in the meantime. Onion will be joining them rather quickly, though, as they do drop. HQ Bro going to be the one member who doesn't come out positive from the side of SubZero, but that might be an opening for the side of New York locals if they can regroup.
They have to manage to get in through this window before it shuts. That spawn is not as far away as you think it is, and Maze aren't really one of the slowest heroes. So you have to now regroup and get in while the going is hot, while HQ Broke is out of the action, but you're going to be coming into Supercharges and Coalescence, and that ultimate combo is deadly.
It certainly is deadly, no deadlier than Jason right now, who is, I guess I should say, dead in the matter of fact, and it still looks like SubZero getting these kills so massively, they are not letting up at the cost of just one Supercharger. Pause is going to be called.
Yeah, Supercharger Coalescence is one of those where, yes, you don't always see it coming up in the kill feed, but it rips enemies' HPs to shreds, and that allows for the team to finalize those kills to get those ultimates charged, and a disconnect is not going to help things for the side of New York locals. They're going to lose a player. That's Jason's ultimate meter reset to 0, so you are losing out on that one. Could be worse. It could have been your Moira, you could have lost that Coalescence, or Dapper's Blizzard. It's going to be up to both of these Mays to land absolutely huge Blizzards, and it's going to be up to both of these Sigmas to land even clutcher eats. Because if you're Omikaze, right, you're sitting here, you know that you're coming up to Cyan Barrier, you know that, yes, Dapper's going to have this Blizzard soon, you know Leo Cakes is coming up to the Sigma Flex. You have a choice. Do you put Cyan Barrier in for the Flex, do you put it in for the Blizzard? You have to choose one or the other because they're not going to come out at the same time. And if they do, New York locals seriously need to rethink the ultimate economy.
Yeah, they really will. I mean, the ultimate economy is going to be rough, as we mentioned with that. I believe it was the Orisa losing that Supercharger. And aside from, having to mentally regroup themselves from a disconnect from the last couple of fights being pretty hard crushes on their end, it's going to be difficult to just get that composure back. They're going to have that Coalescence, like you mentioned. They'll have the Death Blossom, but so much more popping off onto the side of SubZero that it's going to take some work coming out from them.
It's worrying because what they need up isn't offensive ultimates. It's Sound Barrier. They absolutely have to have Sound Barrier if they want to survive through any one of these ultimates that SubZero have on their side. They've got Flux. They've got Blizzard. They've got absolutely 2 huge fight-winning, match-winning, map-winning ultimates on their side, which you need either a Transcendence or a Sound Barrier to negate. Onion has got this Coalescence, but you have to use it to go aggressively. You have to be able to keep your team up as you decimate the enemy's lineup. And if you don't have Sound Barrier, you don't have that boost of HP that is going to be so needed for when SubZero start pulling into these ultimates that they're going to have on their side.
It's very true. However, Jason looks to be back in lobby, so in just a few moments, I imagine we will be getting this game right back into the action. Hopping back onto that Orisa, both Orisas not going to be having any ultimate charge going into this next fight, as Churro did just drop that supercharger for the last one. And right now, it's going to be questionable coming through from the side of locals, as we mentioned before.
Well, New York locals, they have to rethink their strategy. They obviously can't win the scrap fight where they just throw themselves at the team and hope to secure picks. I want to see these guys get sneaky. I want to see them use this Dapper's, the Maywall, creatively. I want to see them wall up to the top, take the high ground, force either SubZero to go to the point or to come to them. They simply cannot walk into all of the damage coming out on the side of SubZero because it's not working out for them time and time again.
It certainly is not, and they're going to be lining up right here at the gate of Hanamura. Once again, trying to get in before the Maywall comes in. They're going to get a clean walkthrough right before that happens, but Onion going to be dropped, and with that dropping also comes the May Blizzard. Once again, the clean kills coming in from SubZero. Execution looked good from New York locals, but then the stuff hit the fan.
Well, we've said it before. Onion has been going down so early, and that's one huge amount of support just gone for New York locals. So now, yes, they've got ultimates. They have to make these ultimates work. They have to bully this Lucio into dropping the sound barrier and dropping it early if they want to find any impact with them.
They certainly will have to try to. But Trev right now, creeping in the corridors right now, dropping the Death Blossom from behind, getting one and only one, but Cash cleaning up Dapper with all that damage coming through. The Maywall coming in to secure just a few more kills. However, it will be after the Maywall drops that the kills truly come through. Onion this time going to be the one to get away.
But you got Blizzard, you got Death Blossom, you got Sigma Flux, and you got Sound Barrier all out of the side of SubZero. That is the push that New York locals were hoping for. They managed to scare SubZero into just throwing away their ultimates, and now New York locals, they've got Blizzard, they've got Coalescence, Sound Barrier, and Death Blossom. They can just come in and wash over SubZero.
Oh no, but the supports got sectioned off. The Sound Barrier going to be coming in from Mudkipper until everybody can get healed up by the Coalescence. Coalescence is from both sides, in fact, coming online. The Blizzard not really going to catch anybody out, but the Maywalls will section off. HK broke, sectioning them from their own team. The Death Blossom coming in from Javian. Going to be getting some kills. Hit the cleanup onto Omixi as one of the last to fall of the supports. The last to fall, in fact. And finally, New York locals are going to be getting some progress on this point.
It took them absolutely everything that they had in their pocket, but they pick up point A. And that is all that matters to this team at the moment. That's going to allow them to go this 3 extra minutes to point B. They're going to be walking in, and they're going to be walking into a superchargers with no support ultimates. So they're going to just be looking to pull these superchargers out as fast as they possibly can. Because Churro superchargers allows his team to be able to build up ultimates of their own. And if you let Cash build up to the Sigma Flux when Mudkipper isn't able to keep the lap with the sound barrier, you've already lost.
Very true. We see the side of SubZero drop off of the high ground. We're going to be seeing the supercharger come out from Churro, and the Blizzard also coming out. So 2 ultimates used in this fight so far. Cash just getting that grab flux. Javian taking down HK broke. Probably not going to be enough as that walkback is so quick. And with that, the continued defense.
Oh, SubZero, they're in a lovely spot right now. Wolfram, the superchargers allowed for all of those ultimates to get built up, and now they can cycle through. They've got Cash's Sigma Flux for this next fight. You know that New York locals don't have that sound barrier up. They're only going to have a Coalescence to see themselves through, and you want to keep that to pair it up for when Nistrik pops his, so that you can have that Moira Kamehameha off. And so you do have to just let yourself win one fight with one ultimate and just go through them one by one and build up and build up. And if you know locals, you have to do the same. You have to get ultimates on your side now.
And that's certainly what we're going to be trying to do here. The grab flux coming in. Trev also dropping that Death Blossom, getting 3 this time around, a lot more successful, with Cash getting the 1 off the grab flux. A quick battle.
Orisa Holt's scary things indeed. Everyone complains about Maze and Bastions and Symmetras, but no, every night I check in my closet to see whether there's an Omnic cow waiting with a green orb to pull me where I don't want to go, Wolf, and they're horrifying, they're terrifying. But New York locals, they've got the wombo combo, they've got the superchargers, they've got the coalescence. This is going to allow them to get damage and sustainability, but not with your main tank section dropped.
Yeah, and the Halt coming in, dropping Churro as well as the Mora off the high ground, but the first kill's going on to Jason. right now. And Onion kind of in a weird spot, doesn't know where they want to point that Coalescence right now. Because of that, we're going to be seeing a lot of teammates drop, and it looks like the backup coming from New York Locals, JV, getting pulled back just a bit. Going to manage to get out of there, but Onion may not be so lucky.
If you're SubZero, you weathered the storm. You managed to survive the Coalescence Superchargers combination with a Maywall. Just a Maywall, just that one positioning, allowing the Orisa to get jumped on by the team, the Superchargers to be taken off the table. And now if you're New York Locals, you're in a little bit of a situation. You've got a Sigma Flux, you've got a Soundbar, you have to find something with them, and you have to find it soon because HK Broke is coming up to this blizzard.
Very true. The sound barrier coming in from Mixie to respond to the grab flux out of Leo Cakes. The Death Blossom coming in, taking down that sound barrier. Trev getting taken down by Jason. Right now, the kills are looking good for New York Locals. They just need to get some more rapid kills. The Blizzard dropping on the point, but not really going to be capturing too many people. And Leo Cake's actually getting frozen, but the Coalescence staying firmly on them, getting knocked off the point, but not down out of the fight quite yet. And right now, it's just a little bit of the stagger game. That Reaper still on point for the side of SubZero, and they're gonna get kills. Churro coming in as the Reinhardt, pinning Onion. That is so good to get that Moira healing out of the game. Both supports now out for Locals. Trev dropping the Death Blossom might be the final nail in this death coffin. As it goes, the overtime timer is going to tick down, and despite a great attempt, New York Locals not gonna get that tick.
I mean, Waltham, I'm just gonna say one thing. No Moira expects the Reinquisition, and Churro just speeding out of that spawn door, the pain train coming to stamp your ticket and send you back to your spawn the hard way. No one expected that. You should at this level. You know the teams, they need to get this contestant, they need to get the tank lineup fast. That's gonna mean a Hammond, that's gonna mean a Reinhardt. So you stay wary and you watch those doors, and unfortunately, that Moira out of the fight, and the team drop like flies afterwards.
This has certainly been a PSA for supports against random Rhine pins, brought to you by that organization. And yeah, that was a pretty impressive pullback coming in from SubZero. I gotta say, New York Locals were looking very dominant. They got a first few kills. It just didn't look like they were able to kind of clean up fast enough.
You have to get the kills really quickly on Hanamura Point B because it is so favored for the defense. We've been there before. You've managed to get Hanamura A. You're trying to get that last little bit of percentage on B. And then the entire team of defenders just come and decimate your force because you weren't quite able to pick out that Moira who just faded out of your ultimates at the last moment. It's one of those horrible situations that you find only in Overwatch, and another one of those, Waltham. It's something that we like to call the nuisance composition of a Bastion bunker with, just a little hint of a pharmacy crossfire over the top.
This is, I mean, nuisance is certainly the most apt word for it. And we're going to be seeing it come out here, Trev, on this Sombra. To do a little bit of scouting, HK Broke in lobby earlier was talking about going on the Genji if they run Bastion. We'll see how true to their word they stay on this, as comp's about to be revealed right now. Cash on that D.Va, going to just get that Matrix into the face of the Bastion while the team aligns up.
Well, it's not really gonna be much of a secret that they're gonna be running into a Bastion bunker, so I hope Trev stays on the Sombra, because there's one thing that can break it, it's an EMP.
Yeah, the dive coming in rather aggressively. Onion gonna be taking the hack instead of Dapper, meaning that sentry, or that turret form gonna be up for Bastion. HK Broke gonna be dropping on that Genji, so it looks like their plan perhaps not the best suited for success here. But right now, Cash playing as Baby D.Va, trying to just halt onto this point. As well, we're gonna be seeing Mixie on that point with that Lucio. They're gonna be getting the first tick basically for free. So perhaps not the best play coming through from New York Locals. They couldn't quite get that rotation in fast enough. And Churro in a tough spot, being stuck underneath this Bastion, trying to rotate onto point, but cleanup is inevitable.
Well, there's a D.Va behind enemy lines at the moment. Cash is separated from the herd, and I don't think anyone from New York Locals knows. Onion is actually on the roof, so if he turns just a little bit behind him, he'll actually see. And has got this amplification matrix ready to drop in front of Dapper, who will no doubt be able to build tank mode from that one. So if you're SubZero, you just want to come in and lose this fight quickly.
Yeah, absolutely do. And that D.Va Matrix coming in from behind, making sure that Bastion can't provide all that damage. HK Broke into getting the deflect kill on it. However, Mixie even throwing their hat in the ring to get some kills in this game. HK Broke continuing to fulfill their promise as going Genji against a Bastion. seeming to find some value and in fact finding the first point as soon as this cleanup comes in on the Baptiste.
Oh, Genji recently got a little bit buffed, and so, you know, Genji mains, they'll take any opportunity they can to be able to pull out the blade and go for a little bit of a butter knife. But Javian is actually gonna be staying on this far, trying to find value from the Blizzard, and it's a really good idea. Because, oh no! They give it up! That was the one thing that they had to prevent a snowball from coming in with SubZero, who have all of these ultimates ready, and New York Locals, they've got nothing!
Yeah, New York Locals, perhaps a misplay there. There's gonna be the Nano Blade. It's gonna be very tough. It's basically a miracle if New York Locals manage to come it out now. And HK Broke getting early kills with that Nano Blade, getting a double off the back of Onion and Dapper, continuing to clean up. It's just the Ori trying but to no avail. All these celebratory ults coming through from SubZero, and now they're up by 2. It's looking precarious for New York Locals right now, Mox.
Well, we talked very, very briefly about New York Locals making little bits of They made so many mistakes in that one, not just swapping off the one person in that team who had an ultimate at the ready, but playing together when you know that the enemy has Nanoblade, has EMP. All ultimates which find the most value when you are packed in like tiny little sardines in a can, just perfectly packaged and parceled for an enemy to pick up play of the game with.
So what you're telling me is they should have run Brig, McCree, and Junkrat. I'm picking it up.
Yes.
I agree. Okay, so obviously SubZero going to be taking Hanamura in a pretty aggressive fashion after that second point cap. And now kind of run us through here, Mox, what that means for New York Locals as we proceed through the rest of this evening's games.
New York Locals, they needed 7 points to be able to secure 3rd place, and having lost 2 maps, it's looking dicey, Wolfram. It's looking really dicey. SubZero, they've shown that they're adept on dive. They've shown that they can play the Reinhardt for all the 5 seconds that we got to see him. I'm not complaining. 5 seconds of Reinhardt in Overwatch in this current patch. It's a miracle that we even got to see him emerge. They've shown that they can dive. They've shown that they can Rein. They've shown us that that they can Orisa Sigma. New York Locals, they have to start switching things up. They can't go with this mirror matchup. And apparently they can't go with this Bastion bunker because it was not executed well at all. They gave up the first tick. Yeah. Yes, maybe they didn't want to have that forced relocation, but they lost their bunker even without EMP being broken out. That should not be happening when you have a Bastion that can be shielded by not just 1, but 2 shields. It's inconceivable when you have a Mercy, a Baptiste, an Orisa, and a Sigma, all of whom should be dedicated to keeping that Bastion safe, allow for that to happen.
Yeah, overall, New York Locals, they're not looking like they have their priorities quite in a row. We are going to be, at least if lobby chat is anything to go off of, going to be seeing a swap out from New York Locals as soon as the players get in lobby. We can get those swaps made and be heading on to Dorado, which I'm suddenly very interested in seeing how this all shakes out.
Well, if you're New York Locals, you're a little bit unsteady right now. You've tried to run the Bastion, and it not only didn't work, but it just cracked under pressure, which means that you can't go for the Bastion defense. You don't want to go for pirate ship because SubZero, they've shown that they're more than capable of wiping the floor with that one. And it leaves you with this Orisa Sigma that we've been seeing a little bit of before, and you've been losing the mirror matchup as well. So, if it's Dorado, you're gonna have to do something a little bit unorthodox, a little bit out of the book. And when you're trying to secure those 7 points, experimental is something that teams don't really want to dip their feet into.
Yeah, it's very much so like playing against a deadline. You know you have to get some work done, but you don't know whether you go for spending all night awake where you can get some work cranked out, or you just try to blast it out in an hour so you can still get some sleep for your major test tomorrow. Either way, it's a grim situation for the New York Locals to be in. It's a question of, do they want to play a little bit more explosively or try to restabilize and just play what they can and get the benefit they can from it?
Well, I would say that when we saw them at their strongest, they were playing the Hammond. We saw that those mines secured them that point of Ilios well. And it worked. And yes, Hammond is one of those that we don't commonly see on Dorado, but we did talk about when this match began all those years ago that you have street space. You can run those tanks, you can run the Winston, you can run the Diva, you can run the Hammond. You can even start off with the Hammond if you're going to have an enemy camped up on the high ground. There is no better way of pushing them towards you than a bowling ball finding a strike all the middle through that team.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. I think Hammond's, very good. And then you go onto that dive section. But do you think it will serve as much benefit if we get to that third stage and New York locals try to run that, or the third point and New York locals try to run that Hammond?
Oh goodness, no. Have you ever played Hammond and tried to go into Dorado Point C? There is nowhere that you can really grapple up onto. There is no ledge which you can really realistically manage to boop enemies off of without you yourself being caught out in the process. And even the mine placement, unless we're talking about that overtime contest where you have that point just inching ever so slightly towards the finish line, you're not really gonna find value with mines either. If you get to point C, you're gonna have to swap, and you're gonna have to swap to something that's a little bit more rectangular, a little bit more German, a little bit more Crusader shaped.
I feel like this has just been the hype ship for Ryan to come back into the game, this entire cast here, Mox, but I'm liking it. I'm as equally optimistic and hopeful that we'll see the brawly German man come out for more than just a wild pin or two.
Well, he can be so strong against double shielding, right? We've seen now that the Orisa, the shield cooldown has been increased to 10 seconds. The Sigma has now actually received a shield cooldown, so Sigma means they have to worry about shield management. This allows the Reinhardt and the team, if there's that good vein of communication, for when they see not just the shield break, but the shield to go down and a new one to be put in its place, to allow the Rein to just walk forward, perhaps with the aid of a Zarya bubble to make sure that he survives the hike, and just walk past all of the shielding and press Q and calmly and serenely absolutely stun all 6 of the enemy team, allowing for his own comrades to be able to get in with that cleanup.
Yeah, the absolute stunner of an ult has never been more literal than perhaps in that instance. And while we have a few moments, folks, definitely don't want to forget to plug the MVP poll down in the bottom right of Twitch chat. If my directions have not changed in the last 24 hours, who knows, they may have. Also, as well, if you like what we're doing here, don't forget to follow. The subs are always appreciated as well. Join our Discord, whatever you like. We love seeing you. We love having you. We love showing these teams the support they need, because come on, they're putting on some pretty good games here, despite how the casters are talking about it. Come on.
Well, we love all of that, but what I do not love at the moment, Wolfram, is looking at New York Locals composition. And I'm seeing more of the same. I'm seeing OJason on the Orisa and Leo Kicks on the Sigma. I wanted to see these guys mix things up, but they're just not. They're gonna have a pharmacy, yes, but if HK Brook manages to time these icicles, you're gonna have the ice pick lobotomy to deal with the Pharah, and Cash is just gonna have a nice friendly Sigma shield for when the barrage is ready.
Very true. Worth noting, Suigetsu gonna be in for Onion this time around. Trev taking down Dapper very early on, as is SubZero fashion at this rate. The Sigma getting caught right into the alleyway next to spawn. Very brutal area to be in. Even the pharmacy not seeming to be safe, as Javian getting taken down. Without Mercy trying to get away, but Suigetsu not going to be so lucky.
They're not even going to let them leave the spawn. Oh, look away, children. This is brutal. This is R-rated Overwatch. And yeah, Javian is swapping to this maid just so that they can actually try and approach this payload without being absolutely jumped on by all of SubZero. And SubZero, they've been building ultimates, and unfortunately New York Locals, they've been taken out so quickly that they haven't really been able to have that chance.
And the Maywall going to be coming in, trying to get some separation, but not going to be working. However, Suigetsu will be separated from their own life force as they do drop early into this fight, with a few more members of their team to follow. Trev getting right into the face of OJason, taking them down. It's going to be a pullback from the rest of the crew.
And it's not looking much better if you're the side of New York Locals and you're trying to look a little bit ahead. You're going to have to come into this. You're going to have to deal with a Coalescence, a Blizzard, and a Death Blossom. Trev has all of the time in the world to be able to set these up. He's got so many nice rooftops to just jump out from, a little bit of an Assassin's Creed, channeling the Ezio onto the heads. And if you're New York Locals, you're going to have nothing to answer back with.
Yeah, a little bit better of a wall, but it's still not going to be finding too much value, as New York Locals still take these first few drops, and because of that, the fight just cannot go their way. Once again, the pullback, but this time they walk away with 3 players, Javian not included.
But they managed to build up this Coalescence. which is absolutely key because Nistrik put his in that last match. So you are going to have a support ultimate, but this means that your Moira absolutely cannot be caught out in the snowstorm when it comes in. HQ Broke cannot be able to freeze the Coalescence out of the picture.
It really can't happen. The Coalescence coming in, the Blizzard to respond. Both Mays going into the Icicle form. And Jason getting walled off once again. It was looking like they may not have dropped 2 immediately, but they end up falling either way. And 3 members dropping from the side of NY Locals right now. And although the Blizzard got a lot of people locked down, there just wasn't enough teammates to follow up because of that. It's going to be a continued hold from SubZero.
Not enough teammates, not enough ultimates. They've got a Sigma Flux, they're gonna have a Superchargers and a Death Blossom, but look at this. Both support ultimates on the side of SubZero. They're gonna have 2 answers to what New York Locals throw at them, and aggressive ultimates of their own, which New York Locals are gonna be left just a little bit dead in the water after.
Yeah, the grab flux coming in, dropping a lot of members. Rather, I believe it only drops Suigetsu. Jason taking out Omixi to respond, but now the kills are going a little bit more back and forth. Dapper getting 2 more kills, helps lean in favor of New York Locals, and the grab flux only going to be landing onto the Sigma Cash, taking a little bit of damage. And it's a Sigma battle on top of the rooftop here, and finally it looks like New York Locals going to be getting that cart moving along Dorado streets.
SubZero gave up their really nice, impressive positioning. They got just a little bit too overconfident. And so they walk into New York Locals without all of those corners to hide behind, and they take the full extent of damage that they possibly could. And now if you're New York Locals, you've got a Death Blossom, you've got a Superchargers. This ultimate is going to pack a punch. But again, you have to make sure the Lucio is taken out of the picture first. Sound Barrier is going to negate everything you try and put in.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing already the kills coming through, the sound barrier coming in after a lot of the members of the side of New York Locals had already died. Not sure that was the best use of their ultimates, but they're going to take it either way. And right now we're seeing the lone Moira played by Mudkipper trying to just stay on point with 5 seconds left.
Well, with the Superchargers, Churro is going to be making that overtime contest. It's a little bit harder if it's even going to happen at all. And no one on the side of New York Locals is going to be able to touch it. And we see the Reinhardt! In the last closing 5 seconds, we see the Reinhardt and the hamster so often. Why? Why would they not try to run those 2 after they were just getting beaten so badly at the mirror matchup?
It's rough. It's so difficult to see something like that happen where maybe a team finally has it click, but it's in the last few moments of the fight, of the match, of the whatever you like to call it. And right now, because of that, New York Locals have put themselves in a very tough spot where now they have to hold under 72 meters. And that's kind of lofty for Dorado here.
Here's the thing, and it's not looking great for New York Locals. You have to set up a defense and you have to hold that line. You've got 2 options. You can set up on the high ground, which yes, gives you an advantage in positioning, but it means that if you get wiped, you're not really going to be able to get a proper full team contest going for when that payload gets closer. Or you can set up where SubZero were straight by the doors, where if you do, it's going to take away your advantage in positioning, yes, but it is going to allow for a second, possibly even third contest for when the payload gets under that arch. And they're going to be going for the ladder. They're going to be setting up aggressively. They know that they have to try and get all of the opportunities that they can. And yeah, this is the smart play. I'm happy that these guys are going aggressively. I'd like to see them go much more aggressively because they've been much more of the reactor than the initiator in these past engagements. And SubZero have been walking away the victor because of that.
It's exactly the case here. And we're seeing Javian posted up inside this small building, ready to creep in and shotgun blast somebody in the sides. Leo Cake's finding Cash, but Trev on this Widowmaker trying to find those angles. Going to be hard to play around with a lot of shielding on the field, though. And right now the kill's going early in favor of New York Locals, but there's still a lot of room for error here. Not a lot of action going through quite yet. The Maywall bringing up, trying to break that line of sight from Trev, but Mudkipper getting brought down by HK Broke on this Pharah once again, able to do a lot of damage, a lot of burst damage more importantly, especially without Mudkipper there to heal back a lot of it. Leo Cake's dropping, and now the push coming in from SubZero as they slowly move the cart inches and inches forward.
Oh, they have to disengage as cleanly as possible so that they can scramble together a defense. And oh no, Mudkipper is actually just going to be hanging around with the Mei a little bit by the gate. If SubZero decide to try and get in on this, no, they take out the Orisa instead. One main tank down, and this contest is gonna get so much harder, especially with this barrage. That's one shield less for HQ Pro to worry about.
Yeah, Javian taking down that Moira, though, is maybe something they can cling to here. HK Broke taking down Dapper, meaning that May wall and blocking those lines of sight's not going to be as possible right now. But the reinforcements still coming in for New York locals. HK Broke taking down my Mudkipper, who comes in to the fight, ready to go on this Moira. And now we're seeing New York locals kind of swing back a little bit here with the Wrecking Ball.
Well, we wanted to see them play it, and now they're playing it. I don't care if it was just to allow OJason to get back into this engagement faster. You're 43% to an ultimate. Please, for the love of Overwatch, do not swap this hamster off. Those mines over a payload are going to instantly dissuade SubZero from trying to push. It's going to buy you time, and that's going to allow for Leo Cakes to build up the signal.
They certainly will. That slam coming in from the Wrecking Ball and the Maywall sectioning off Churro means a lot of damage going to be going onto that Ori, but they're not going to be brought back down as Nistrick using that Coalescence to keep them up as soon as those Maywalls drop. So he gets to dropping, but Javian taking down Nistrick as well. One support down for both teams, but I'd rather lose a Lucio than a Moira in this instance. And right now, things are looking very good for New York locals, especially with Trev going down. The Pharah still in the sky, but not quite able to contest a whole lot of damage up here with the Mercy keeping them company. And the May taking a little bit of pain from that Pharah. We're going to be recovering. And right now, this seems like a very continued fight. Jason trying to play on this Wrecking Ball, just stalling out, getting those slams into the ground. Have already used their mines, already 39% back up to a number one. The Ground Flux coming in, going to be putting Leo Cakes up into the air. The sound barrier to respond from Suigetsu going to be keeping everybody online. Churro taking the shotgun blast from Javian, but HQ Broke going to be responding, taking down Javian as they took down their comrade. And Cash now getting brought back down. Things are looking so messy for both sides, but it looks like New York locals are going to be feeling pretty okay about that as they do walk away with more kills. Suigetsu getting a double boop kill, as a matter of fact. A minute left on the clock.
More importantly, they walk away with a barrage being taken from HQ Broke, and that's going to actually have the swap onto the May. They're not going to be able to build up to this Blizzard, though. 45 seconds in the timer, you're not going to have an ultimate that Dapper has prepared for when you come down and through this archway. Unfortunately, Jason isn't going to be on the arrest, so no halt, but you are going to have this Mines to combine with them, and that's going to hurt so much if you're SubZero.
It really will, and the mines dropping right onto the cart, trying to keep everything just scattered. And then the freeze coming in. Jason getting a double kill with the mines. That is exactly what New York locals needed. Everything seems to be going their way right now. It was looking like a very grim hold, but with 17 seconds left on the clock, it looks like it's just going to be the stagger kills coming in.
I like to think that Hammond Mine stepping on one of them is a lot like stepping on a Lego piece and hurts just as much. And unfortunately for SubZero, they had nothing to be able to keep the pain away. They're going to try and contest this. But if you're New York locals, you've got your whole team in force and you've got a Death Blossom in your pocket, you have nothing to answer this with this SubZero.
Yeah, Jamie going to be dropping the Death Blossom, taking down Mixie. Suigetsu getting another boop kill coming in with the Lucio. Javian getting frozen and brought to dangerously low levels, but will be supported by their team. HK Broke the last man standing on cart, the last May standing on cart, should I say, but the Wrecking Ball coming in from Cash going to be there to keep them online. Rolls off of cart, though, has to get there quick because overtime is ticking down. Will barely make it alongside their Lucio, played by Omixi right now, and it is looking so staggered, and they are trying to just get any damage in. Suigetsu going to be dropping that sound barrier just to keep everybody alive. And sure, this fight gets one Churro onto this Winston right now. We're not going to be seeing any last-minute Reinhardts, it seems. And with that, New York local is going to be taking Dorado. They might be making a swing back.
Well, it's looking like a different team. We said in previous times, like we're just saying this over and over again, but this time it's positive. This is the New York locals that we're not quite used to seeing. It's still a little bit iffy. It still feels like they're very much unsure. But that ending, that combination of Blizzard and Mines that was so devastating, those are the tasty combinations that we're so used to seeing from teams where they have that communication, where they have ultimates up, that they don't just put in one by one and hope to find one pick, maybe two picks. No! They put in the two, they get the kills because of it. High risk, high reward, and they definitely manage to put that one in the bank savings.
Yeah, in those instances on Dorado, there is no more high risk than having to cart maybe 5 meters away on first point when you're a rather long walkway from, getting back to cart if you die on defense. So they're going to be feeling pretty good about that. They may end up claiming those 7 points. After all, it's all going to come down to Eichenwald. Can they make it happen here, Mox?
Oh, it's gonna be hard, because here's the thing. We saw that they found success on the Hammond. Hammond on Eichenwald. It's one of those that seesaws. It can either go extremely well, or you can be essentially throwing the match for your team, depending on whether or not you're counted and how well you can play Hammond. Everyone says that you can climb to these levels on just the one hero if you're good enough. Unfortunately, with 31 heroes, soon to be 32 in the pool, any hero that you can play good or well has 2 free counters, and Hammond is one of those. Like, he doesn't just have 1 or 2 counters, he has 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, it's tough, especially since Mei is one of those heroes that seems to get constant play. It's going to be very difficult, especially since, Mei has some very strong potential here with blocking off a lot of these chokes. So, I mean, in 30 seconds, we're going to see what the compositions, open up to be. For those of you watching at home, worth noting that SubZero now going to be on the attacking side, as New York locals have opted to defend, meaning that they'll be in the cool blue, while the SubZero will be in the ironically hot red.
Yeah, it's opposite, Daywolf. So we'll be going into this match, and it's definitely going to be looking like New York locals are trying to go for a repeat performance of what we saw on Dorado. The fact that they wanted defense proves that they have a game plan, and Dapper on this Mei, it's not surprising. Javian on the Reaper, however, it can be a little bit harder on Eichenwald if you're a defending Reaper to try and get these plays and that we're seeing aggressive Reapers go for. You have to teleport in really, really cleverly. Otherwise, you just get found out instantly. And Nistrik, if they stay on this Brigitte, is going to ensure that there is a shield bash ready and willing to meet your face. But no, they're going to swap back to the Moira. Trev going to be on the Sombra, no doubt, for a little bit of a scout to see whether or not they can run. And Ana, okay, Ana through double shielding. You don't often see it, but those anti-nades can be absolutely vital in swinging teamfights in your favor.
Yeah, plus if the side of SubZero are expecting a Pharah, the Ana might not be the worst thing, but it looks like they're going to go with a little bit of vigilance, as Nistrik going to be swapping onto that Moira now. And the fight taking place rather quickly here, holding a little bit farther back from the New York locals, not going to be holding at that choke. And with that, it seems that SubZero going to have very little effort in trying to get through. Both Mei walls coming up, creating a little bit of a sandwich between a lot of the members of this fight. And the first tick already going in favor of SubZero. Not really a lot of contests going through, and things are looking so good for them right now. Kills going through immediately. Churro cleaning up the damage coming through by all their DPS players. That Mei able to lock down those teammates as well. Leo Cake's going to be taking down Mixie, but it might not. It's most likely not going to be enough, as we see the kill feed lighting up, and with that SubZero taking first point in a pretty quick time.
I mean, that first choke, that archway, is by far one of the strongest tools for the defenders, and the New York locals, they don't take advantage of it. They run a Mei, but the wall just does not come in with the right timing, and so they don't really manage to separate anyone. They don't initiate once more. They allow SubZero to begin that fight, and that then allows them to dictate how it ends. And now you're going to be coming into a blizzard. Now you've got Churro to pull you into it. So whether or not your gloves are on, you're going to be getting into that one, whether you like it or not.
Yes, we get to almost getting pulled off the map. Luckily has those Lucio roller skates to keep themselves up. Cash getting taken down by Mudkipper. Right now, New York locals trying to claim this back. Javian getting some kills with those Hellfire shotguns. The Moira Coalescence coming out does not seem to save the side of SubZero, as Nistrik and Churro going to be trying to run away. Looks like they might just get away too.
And I hope that I see more of the same from New York locals. They start off that fight. They decide when that fight begins. That Coalescence pops. That's the green sign. That's the go sign. They just move in as a unit and take out SubZero. But that Coalescence was one of those needed that you were going to deal with the blizzard, and now you've only got a sign barrier.
Yeah, Dapper getting caught in that blizzard right now does not help things either. The Ori grab combo with the Flux coming in, going to be landing a lot of damage, but no kills off the back end of it. And right now, Trev getting very aggressive onto the Sigma. Leo Cake's going to be taking a quick drop. The Ori trying to escape with the aid of Dapper's Mei. They're going to have maybe one more contest here, Mox.
They're going to be holding on to this sign barrier, though they make a very strange decision. They have the opportunity to sign barrier to save the team from the blizzard, but they keep it for the Flux. That means that Trev is going to be free to get the Death Blossom off when that sign barrier comes in, and so the Ripper's absolutely going to be looking for that one.
Yeah, and it looks like Javian going to be the one dropping that sound barrier, followed by Trev, but the sound barrier in response coming through from Suigetsu. Not going to be saving too many people, but it will save Javian, who does provide a lot of damage. That Moira almost getting booped off the map, but will be saved just a moment. Javian cleaning up Nistric, and it came down to 2-1 there, Moxie. That was pretty close.
It was almost managed to be a DPS Moira. The hero play from Nistric, but unfortunately it's not enough. But if you're New York locals, what you have is just not enough to deal with Cash's Sigma Flux. You need that Sandbar, you need that instant healing that Coalescence just does not provide for when the damage hits, and Cash is just gonna open straight up with it, all of them in the air.
Yeah, we'll only be dropping Suigetsu, who gets cleaned up by Trev. Javian taking down Churro means a lot of staying power gone for the offensive team. Now, HK Broke taking down Mudkipper means that the defense going to be lacking a lot of healing, but healing doesn't matter when you fall right off a cliff. Oh, Mixie getting 2 onto Javian and Jason right now, and the stall still coming out from the defense, but not for long, and the double boop kill coming in again from Suigetsu, looking to contest at the very last moment. Now it's a 2v1 on the other side. Javian coming in the last moment to try to clean things up, and that was looking so close for New York locals as Nistric just gets bullied.
Environmental kills on Eichenwald Point B are the bane of every team. Whether you're attacking, whether you're defending, you will always fall foul of that moat. And so, unfortunately for SubZero, they are going to be pushed back, but they have Blizzard. They can initiate this fight. They have to initiate it soon because Suigetsu is coming up to the Siren Barrier, but there is an opening for this team, and they can absolutely capitalize on it.
Very true. They're going to be taking the high path up onto the castle here. And we're seeing Trev teleport onto the high ground. Doesn't look like they're going to be finding too much. Dapper getting separated off by their own wall. The sound barrier coming in from Suigetsu trying to keep everybody alive, but it doesn't quite manage to clip Dapper, who gets taken down. Javian trying to respond with a Death Blossom, taking down Mixie. It doesn't look like it's going to quite be enough yet. Some kills really need to happen. The Lucio boops coming in from Suigetsu, trying to get somebody off the map once again. Not going to quite happen, though, this time around. The Reaper Death Blossom coming in from Trev just to ensure that these supports are going to be dropping. It does look like it will, in fact, find success as the cart gets to second point.
But they stuttered. We haven't seen this team stutter before on Eichenwald. That was the first time that the payload properly stopped. And so now New York locals, they are starting to go for these initiations, these aggressive fights that I so wanted to see, and it's working out in their favor. Now they just have to buy time. They have to win this next fight, and they have to build, allow this supercharges on Jason to be able to build up.
Yeah, and Churro getting dropped means that the supercharger will not be available for the attacking team. They're going to be getting out of there, especially with HK Broke dropping. They want to make sure that that Mei wall not going to be able to block any damage. And right now, just a little bit of damage coming in from the side of New York locals, trying to get as much damage and ult charge built up as they can.
I mean, can they get any more than 4 circles on the board? It's gonna be a tough one, but it's definitely gonna be a tough one for Mikaze, who just gets dropped off the map. A little bit of a just desserts for the Lucio.
Yeah, Lucio's everywhere. Everybody's taking fall damage right now, so he gets to get another kill on the Cash with the concussion blast. Trev taking a accretion rock to the back of the head, courtesy of Leo Cakes. HK Broke dropping a Blizzard just to get to the cart. Interesting.
Yeah, they're that afraid of the environmental kills. They put the Blizzard in to allow for them to cross that bridge safely without the fear of the boop.
Yeah, but now there is the return Blizzard kill. And it will be HK Broke who does take the icicle to the forehead, the ice pick lobotomy, as I believe it was mentioned earlier. And right now, kills looking favorable for the defensive team right now. In fact, Suigetsu going to be dropping that sound barrier to keep the 5 remaining members up and conscious. However, Jason needs some healing quick as they are looking dangerously low. The kills coming through. Perhaps Suigetsu trying to set up for more boops. Not going to be happening as they just decide for the retreat and regroup.
Oh, and Suigetsu is still skirting along these doors, trying to get the environmentals. Not going to be playing as aggressively. Definitely would have been punished if he went for that one. But if you're the New York locals, you have to bully the Lucio once again. You have to get the sign barrier out for Leo Cakes to find value. So you're going to have to make sure that the Lucio is off the table, just as you're going to have to try and get Cash out before the flex comes through.
Yeah, Mixie going to be dropping that sound barrier just to keep everybody alive as much as possible. And Dapper is going to be dropped in the Sigma Grab Flux before they can hit that ice form. The Death Blossom coming in from Javian going to be stunned out of it, and in fact will not be finding too much value with it. And Mudkipper dropping that Coalescence to try to keep everybody alive. And for the time being, it's working, but not as Nistric fires down with their own Coalescence. In fact, getting tons of kills. No DPS showing up on the board, but they're not going to mind that as the cart continues to move for SubZero.
Oh, Trev is sneaking and creeping. He's on top of the chandelier. He's waiting for the drop down Death Blossom for when this contest comes through. And oh, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, it's certainly Will going to be dropping in onto the Wrecking Ball as well as the May. The May not quite in range to contest right now, and something needs to happen for the New York locals if they want to make a comeback. It doesn't look great as the Sigma is the last one on the field using that grass to try to keep themselves up. Not going to work as the 3rd point is achieved for SubZero.
But we had this really weird moment where everybody was just getting environmental kills left, right, and center. It was like an episode of Oprah. You get an environmental kill, and you get an environmental kill, and you get an environmental kill. We all get environmental kills. SubZero, they stopped that payload. They just weren't able to move at that bridge. And so the writing is on the wall if you're New York locals. You have to get to those points of the map where you can fully take advantage of your surroundings. What that does mean, however, is that you're gonna have to get point A and the majority of point B before you really can start to do that. So it's gonna be a bit of an uphill battle. But hey, these guys, they're starting to wake up. They're starting to play how we've seen them before. The combinations are coming in. The counter picks are coming in. They're starting to go aggressive, and it's working out dividends for them. So they can definitely still pull this one back.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking at it in kind of a reasonable sense, like what better way to learn to be aggressive than on defense when you still have your attack phase to go? Like now they can build upon that aggression while they're on the attack. They can decide things a little bit more decisively, maybe not the position of the fights, but certainly the timing. They go when they're ready. That is, unless, you know, the side of SubZero are going to be getting very aggressive. Although with a Bastion on the field, I kind of doubt it.
I mean, who knows? You might see the frontline Bastion. I would be okay with it. I think New York locals would be more than happy with it because they would just jump on it and delete it straight away. But I mean, if you're SubZero, the choice is yours. You defend how you want to, and they're gonna just choose a pharmacy at the moment to just lob in all of these rockets, try to build that barrage up as quickly as possible as all of New York locals traipse out of the spawn doors and begin this first approach.
Yeah, and it looks like the Sombra are going to be doing a little bit of scouting. JV and going to be hopping onto the Reaper as soon as they spot out what they need. Interestingly, though, they see the Pharah Mercy combo. They're not going to be opting for anything. If the Mercy gets hit by an Accretion Rock, oh, Jason cleaning them up. Some great combos with the Accretion Rock as well as the halt from the Orisa. And now the point, there's no res now for the offensive or for the defensive team. And it's going to be quickly the side of New York locals hopping on the point. They're going to be trying to play around this Bastion, or underneath the nose of this Bastion, rather. And taking down Shiro means another shield gone for that Bastion. This Bastion running out of lives rather quickly as the point progress continues to tick upwards. The Mercy going to be coming back onto the field as Javian drops, and now it was looking very good initially for New York locals, but they're a little bit staggered right now. There are just 3 members left inside the inn. They have essentially swapped positions, and this is not great. They're just kind of burning time off the clock, and they need to reassess themselves right now.
They're in this really weird place now where the Sigma can actually get staggered out. It's not often that you see a main tank go down last, but that is exactly what happens. In their approach, everyone just tried to force that drop down playing below the Bastion, that no one went to deal with the Bastion. And so he was just free to get in all of the damage when he repositioned 61% to that tank mode, with Nistrik gonna have that amplification matrix that is gonna be Bastion bullet hell for all of New York locals as they come out of these lanes. They're just gonna be hemmed up, so that tank mode is gonna be coming online. And you've got HQ Broke to just hurt them the way that SubZero won, with this barrage up and ready to go, and no sound barrier on the side of Sugetsu to be able to bail his team out with the damage.
Yeah, and now we're seeing a little bit of a slow rotation coming in from New York locals to try to disposition that Bastion off of the high ground, but the Bastion and company feeling very alert to that, with the Pharah kind of giving them a little bit of a heads up. And with that, it looks like they're stuck. They don't know quite how they want to make this turnaround. The window coming in, but the May wall lifting the Bastion up off the window zone. And the rocket barrage coming in from HQ Broke, but Trev on that Bastion does fall. The Mercy can still get the res, though, if she's given the opportunity. And she is exactly given that opportunity. Trev going to be brought back up by Omixi. And Lucio gets to boop off of the high ground, but it might be a bit too late. A Accretion Rock going on to HQ Broke, but not going to be too bothered by that, as once again, the Sigma, one of the last to fall.
They didn't disengage cleanly. They lost so many. And New York locals, they just hang around, and that allows SubZero to build up more ultimates. Cash gets the Sigma Flux online and available, and Sugetsu, he didn't have the sound barrier for that barrage. He's not going to have it for the Sigma Flux. So if SubZero want to go aggressively, they absolutely can. They've got the ultimates to back things up. And if you're New York locals, you have to initiate. You have to open things up with Blizzard. You absolutely have to put that Blizzard onto that Bastion bunker and force them to move or allow them to freeze.
And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to be trying to go for here. They may try to bait out that Sigma accretion early on, but Mudkipper coming in from, or excuse me, HK Broke coming in from behind, taking down Mudkipper, then 2 more with the follow-up from the Rocket Barrage. Dapper cleaning them up, but it's certainly not going to be enough as there's just an Orisa and a Mei left in the wings.
And they're so scared that Maywell comes down to try and allow the hiding hole to just be a little bit more of a sanctuary. They're actually just going to kind of run and hide behind because the pharmacy is trying to find them. A little bit of a bird's eye view there for HK Broke. But if you're New York locals, you've been waiting, you've been eco-pushing, you've got 6 ultimates on the board. This is the time that you put those in. 16 seconds on the board. You have to find answers and you have to find them now.
And they're going to try to, certainly, the Grab Flux coming in, going to be dropping everybody down. However, nobody falls off the back of it. The Sigma Accretion Rock going onto the Bastion, meaning you have to come out of tank form, or out of sentry form just to get that healing in. The Javian dropping the Death Blossom, getting 2, including the Bastion. That might be the turnaround, but it doesn't look like it's quite going to be, as Leo Cake's the only one left. Again, the Sigma last man standing, trying to do some cleanup, in fact, but the Bastion does get picked up in the meantime, and because of that, it will no doubt be Leo Cake's falling. The Hammond able to get back onto point, trying to bully their way around. Overtime clock will be ticking down. The May Blizzard now coming in. Can this turn things around? Will that have been enough time? The Bastion going to be frozen. Suigetsu cleaning them up with that Lucio. And now things are looking a little bit iffy on both sides of the field. We're actually seeing HK Broke on the Torbjorn, but everybody leaves point. SubZero taking it with the Torbjorn pick.
I saw that swap and I was like, oh, they didn't. That could have gone really badly for them. They could have been so overconfident that they would have had 1 TPS who was just running around as a Torbjorn while his team falls around him. But no, they C9. They walk off the point when they needed to stay on it for the most part. And so no, it's going to be SubZero taking, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 maps out of 4.
That is, in fact, going to be the case, Mox. So that means that New York locals not going to be the heroes that they needed themselves to be. They, I believe, won't be taking that 3rd place spot. But to be honest, you know, they walked away on Dorado with a very impressive defense. So, I mean, you can't say that this was a total loss for them in any means.
No, we saw the team really come alive on that Dorado defense. I'm going to harp back to it so many times, but that Hammond Mine combo with the Blizzard was just beautiful. Purely beautiful art that deserves to be hung up in the Louvre and admired by millions. Unfortunately, though, they didn't quite manage to pull off the same sort of chemistry that we saw just a glimpse of on Dorado. But SubZero, they did so well. They didn't get flustered, which is what you see teams sometimes having that bunker break into. When the Bastion got lifted up by a Maywell, they didn't panic or have him move down. He stayed where he was. The Sigma put a shield up, allowing for none of the damage to hit him. And he just used this new pedestal as a sort of a whole new way to look at the world around him and put in so much damage onto the side of New York locals.
Yeah, it certainly felt like they were flying on a magic carpet because it certainly did seem like a whole new world for them in that instance. But with that being said, we are going to be having somebody hop into the caster channel with us. It's going to be Trev from SubZero. Trev, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm very excited off the back of that map. There were some nail biters in there, and for some moments, no doubt.
Wasn't
no
even
doubt.
close.
Oh, that's a little bit rough coming through from the New York locals. But so overall, you were the Reaper player for SubZero. So I guess just go ahead and give us a little bit of introduction. You know, you play Reaper. What else do you like to play?
So as you can see tonight, I try to play as little Reaper as possible. We ultimately gave up Dorado because of it, but I like playing Widow, Tracer, hit scan specialist.
Fantastic. Now, from what I understand, Mox's going to be asking you a few questions here, right, Mox?
I mean, I've got to ask. Torbjorn, what? Did you think that you'd lock down the map and it was the ultimate VM swapping to the Torbjorn for the victory screen?
I can't tell you what was going through HQ's mind at that time, but I did hear a call in comms to go dumpster fire, which is one of our signature comps, which involves a Torb. So he was just preparing in case we did swap back comp.
And what were the comms like when that point then started to shift in the New York locals' favor and you had a Torbjorn running around the point?
I think there were a couple question marks. I heard a couple, why are you on door? But I wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
I mean, it definitely makes the victory just a little bit more memorable. And you said that you gave up Dorado because you played something that wasn't Reaper. Do you feel like the meta is to the point where if you deviate from this Reaper, Doomfist, versus Sigma that we're so used to seeing on our screens now that you are just throwing away a map, or do you think it's still possible that you can walk away with the victory playing something else?
I'm not sure. So right now you see either Reaper Doom or Reaper May. I'm sure that there are compositions, like we can run Pharah on it. We were winning Dorado. We did kind of throw on the attack. We should have got it, but we let the Reaper in our backline, and it ultimately reset the economy for ults, and we lost because of that. I think that it can be done if the other team doesn't really know what they're doing, which I'm not going to say anything, but they didn't really know what they were doing.
And that first map, Ilios, your team seemed to have this real focus, almost a sort of magnet on the enemy's supports. Was that the game plan? Was it wipe out the supports first and then jump the rest of the team? Or was it a sort of, oh, that person is there immediately in the moment, let's get them out of the game first?
So are you speaking specifically on Well when we were running dive?
Yes.
Yeah, we knew that they were running Ana in a bunker comp, and they were playing a Pharah as well. So if we just played faster than they did, we were gonna win it.
Well, wise words indeed. And really quickly, we like to give people the opportunity because, you know, you've come social interaction. It can be scary. So your reward, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
So this one's for Cash. Cash wants us to shout out Moshi Man. I believe he's a fellow caster. As well as the SubZero management. We wouldn't be where we are without them.
Well, it's been wonderful having you, and congratulations on the victory. And Wolfram, it's not all that we've got time for today, because we are going to be casting match just a little bit after this. So yes, this one has been a little bit short, a little bit brief, but it's still been enjoyable nonetheless.
Yes, of course. Once again, Trev, thank you for coming in, hanging out with us, and just answering a few of mostly Moxie's questions. I didn't have anything prepared, if I'm being sincere with you, but we always appreciate coming in, hearing the players' perspectives on things, and it got a little bit spicy. I like that. I like the spice.
Well, this is our third time playing New York locals on stream, and the first time we actually tied them. And I don't believe that we were fairly represented in the interview, so I felt like there needed to be some retaliation here.
We like it, building that fire, the rivalries. It will go down in the record for years to come. The true battle, New York locals versus SubZero.
Yes, and in fact, Moxie, as you say it, as you're talking about records here, I did just get the results back from the MVP poll. Are you ready to hear the results?
Drumroll if you can, well, imaginary one, because I feel like I might destroy my mic if I do that on a pop filter.
I relate to that, but lucky that we have you in here, Trev, because you actually got the MVP for tonight, so congratulations. And once again, if you got any words you want to say to the audience out there, let her rip.
I want to thank my mom, the academy, everyone who supported me throughout the days. Other than that, I appreciate all my fans. Love you, Andrew. Other than that, I'm done.
Fantastic. Well, once again, Trev, thank you for coming in and hanging out with us. But I believe that is going to conclude our casting events for now. As mentioned a little bit earlier, you can catch me and Moxie casting another game. It looks like it's going to be between Love Shack and Not Critical Mass. So be sure and tune in about 40 minutes if you want to see that again. But for the time being, I have been your caster, Sir Waltham, accompanied by God Moxie.
Well, we'll see you in just a little bit. Bye, folks.